Middle Tennessee State and Liberty. College football for Tuesday. And in this one, I've got Liberty a 2-touchdown favorite against Middle here in this one, and the total at 56.5. Yeah, well, we could call it 57 even. Now let's do it. And maybe it's 14. I'll switch it if I pick the other way. All right. Here we go in this one now with Liberty. Thank you for being patient. Now that I had to switch my computers around again on the last second. I was all ready to go. Well, we already got a play from Darren, so I guess we can just wrap it up. He'll take 15 points tonight with Middle. So Middle Tennessee's off to a pretty rugged start, certainly with a 2-5 record, 1-5 against 1A teams, and their only win against 1A competition was last week against Louisiana Tech, and they beat them 31-23. Middle Tennessee has been a team that thrived on turnovers over the last couple of seasons, but the variance has run out, and a team that was plus a dozen turnovers each of the last 2 seasons are already down to they're -5, but they're giving up some big time yardage as well, and you're going up against a team like Liberty. Last 3 games, Middle Tennessee has allowed nearly 425 yards per game. And they given up 36.5 points in their games against 1A competition. Now for Liberty, we know, that they have a pretty strong offense. The fun thing about Liberty is, though, that they're running the ball pretty good. Some of the years when Liberty's had a good, decent team, they've had good passing offense, but here they're averaging 250 yards on the ground per game this season, and they have the variance going their way with a +8 turnover ratio so far. Now remember, Liberty has the former Coastal Carolina coach, so he's kind of fit right in with the whole thing here, and I don't know. It just feels like Liberty's in a real good situation. Now, these 2 teams meet 2 years ago, and Middle crushed them. They crushed them by 28 points. Liberty crushed them, and they were a 19.5-point favorite. Liberty won 41-13. And I expect Liberty to have a pretty successful night here. I would think. I think they could smash them and probably have a pretty big night, I would imagine. So I'm going to look Liberty 6-0 right now, trying to go to 7-0. They have Middle that has not been able to win a game yet on the road. So I guess I'm going to just lay the points here with Liberty. And I don't know. I'm not sure that if they can slow down this offense necessarily here coming in. I mean, yeah, and you have a quarterback too, but look, Middle Tennessee throws the ball maybe a little bit more successfully even than Liberty, at least for the amount of yards they have put up. Middle is averaging 7.1 yards per attempt. Liberty averages 10 yards per attempt. I'm not comparing there as far as being better than them, but I'm just saying that Tom's here on Liberty as well. I'm gonna take Liberty, and uh, I don't feel too bad about down to 14 points. That's an important number. It's also cheaper to get down to under 14 here now with the price having gone down. It did go up as high as 15 and a half. The look ahead before last week's games was Liberty minus 12, but this has been such a good run right now for Liberty. They do go under at home quite often, but feels to me like it could, it may end up more on the high side. I'm just going to take Liberty here on a roll. Not only 6-0, but 5-1 against the spread, 3-0 at home. And Terrell's been watching too much middle. Ray says take Liberty as well to roll. So maybe, well, we don't have a consensus here. We've got to figure out how we're going to do that. All right, let's just take Liberty to win here, to win and cover. And that total at 57 now, that's as high as the total's been. I saw it go down initially from 56 and a half down to 55, but back up to 57 right now. So we'll take Liberty as the play here tonight. And the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky going to take on Jacksonville State Gamecocks tonight in conference action here. Of course, Western Kentucky comes in. I don't know. This is a pretty nice matchup, really. Is this the marquee matchup of the night? Got Western Kentucky coming in with a 4-2 record, and Jacksonville State 5-1. And what a splash Jacksonville State has made here. Yeah, the schedule a little bit easy, but hey, you're going to play some of the similar teams that you are, and uh, they're 5-1 for a reason. So it's been a real good start here for Jacksonville State as a 1A team. And I said 5-1. They're 5-2, but right, yeah, 5-2, 4-2-1 against the spread. So there we go. Make sure I get that right. What was that other game I'm forgetting about way back? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. So for Western Kentucky, they're pretty steady to the under, in conference competition. They've gone 1-7-1 to the under, also 2-7-1 to the under as a favorite dating back to last season. Meanwhile, Jacksonville State 11 and 4-11 to the under. Their stats are a little bit misleading because of the line games are a little bit stretched out more because of their status over the last couple of years. But those one AA games do get graded, and with their defense and everything. And well, I say their defense. I mean, we're still dealing with a total of 60. We're up against Western Kentucky here, and we know that Western Kentucky has had some pretty standout success. And will that translate here when you're going up against a pretty solid offense like Western Kentucky in their passing game with Reed at quarterback, 1,600 yards so far this year. And Jacksonville State kind of had two guys uh, behind center for the most part. So, if you guys making any picks here, Reginald Luker. He says he's going to take the Gamecocks here, but Darren's going to take WKU in an under. Looks like Thomas might be going over in this one. So laying some pretty big points. Jacksonville State obviously been a very, very nice surprise so far. Like I said, no doubt because of that, spread record, good success against some of these teams. Look who they've played well against. I mean, they beat Middle, but remember this is their first year. Remember they beat Sam and they shut out Eastern Michigan. They walloped East Tennessee, and they beat UTEP. So this has been a great, great run here for Jacksonville State. And Westbrook says that Smothers can be so frustrating at times, and that's why, you know, look, you don't want to go to the other, you don't want to go to the other quarter, the other quarterback, right? As he was under 50%. Did he get hurt? I'm trying to think, or was it just ineffectiveness? That's where I might need. That's where I might need uh, Terrell to fill me in on that. After all, it's his team. All right. Well, I better make the call on this one then, because look, I know a lot of people might be on Western Kentucky. I want to try to give Jacksonville State a chance here, but I think it's going to be. I'm going to make an undercall here and think that Jacksonville State, like this defense, you know, look, they're allowing 20 points a game. I know they've had a weak schedule. I know Western Kentucky has that. Reed has 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions so far this season. And Western Kentucky, they're taking the ball away again. So impressive. And 2-0 in Conference USA so far. But I just feel like Rodriguez has it going a little bit with Jacksonville State. This has been real, real fun. And Jacksonville State has pretty positive better turnover ratio than Western Kentucky, actually. They're a plus 10 on the turnover ratio, and Western Kentucky is just plus 8. I say just. I mean, those are great numbers so far. And Conference USA so far, the favorites have been the road favorites been pretty good, 4-1 in 5 games so far for Conference USA road favorites. But Jacksonville State here, one of the problems in this whole situation for them is the fact that and you guys talked about it. Reginald talked about it. Is that the passing has been pretty bad. In fact, Jacksonville State is under 50% as a team, right? Terrell says there'll be some defense here and keep Western Kentucky down. Well, I like that then. Okay, let's do it. Ray says give me WKU, however, and I'll take the under in this one. Is it still 60? I think it is. 7.5 and 60. Give me the under tonight. Western Kentucky and Jacksonville State. All right, Southern Mississippi takes their 1-5 record into South Alabama. South Alabama comes in 3-3. They did have that big surprise win over Oklahoma State, remember, but then they lost to Central Michigan as 16-point home favorites. I mean, then they crushed Oklahoma State. So don't know what's going on too much here with the Jags. They've got some decent defense against, well, they held Oklahoma State to just 7 points. But in their 3 wins, their defense was great. In the 3 losses, they averaged allowing 34 points. So All right, Southern Miss. Things have been pretty bad on the road so far. They've lost 66-13. They lost 44 to 37. They've got routed in some of these games for sure. And with the spread now, I show it up to 19. It opened as low as 16, and now we're all the way up to 19 in this one. Ugh. Southern Miss. So far, they've lost, like I said, blown out in those two road games. South Alabama, win favored, usually a pretty steady over so far, and a steady over at home. They really should have their way here, I would think, offensively. Southern Miss, things are not going well. And they've been giving up some points. For South Alabama, they won last week 55-7 at Monroe, covering 10.5 points. They lost to Madison the week before that, 31-23 in a near pickup. And they haven't been great at covering the number. There are just two covers this season. They failed to cover against Southeast Louisiana, a 21.5 point favorite, and won it by 18. So let me update that line. It's at least 19 right now for South Alabama. That line just continuing to rise to a bit of an uncomfortable level. The total here down to 51. Darren's got a lean here to South Alabama and the over. And that's probably the way that let me see here. Let me make sure because South Alabama, here, Southern Miss, dating back to this season and dating back to last season, 9 of their last 12 games have gone over. And so far, these two teams have combined to go over in 8 of the 12 games. So that's where I'm going to go with this one. I know that that does, yeah, I'm going to take the over here. I got an over. First one on the show. How about that? After 8 unders, I've got an over tonight with Southern Mississippi and South Alabama. All right. Wow, that sounds like a winner.